There's a lot of cool things that this first level does that I don't see people talk about. So let's look at this. Our first fight has 2 zombie men. They're not facing us, which is important because this gives us the choice and the time to think about what we want to do next. They're also very easy enemies. And of course, if we come back over this way, the game is already teaching us basics of exploration. Look, a chainsaw. I don't know how they don't get woken up by this, but already at the start we see, hey, if we look around, if we explore, the game is telling us we might find some cool things. And that's going to carry on throughout the rest of the game. Now we have a choice of how to take this fight. Of course, it's easy. We have a little bit of hiding back here if we need to take cover from their shots. And of course, as we initiate this fight, the enemies down the hallway hear us. So if we've not jumped down from here, we have a choice to take cover behind here or take this big arena fight in here using the pillars as cover. Now, you might be thinking, Alston, this is all basic stuff, but you have to think about the lens of 1994 when FPS was much newer to people, and it's also neat to see how the game was designed anyway. When we come into the hallway, we meet a new enemy, the Imp. Now, before we get to this, take a look at all these little goodies around. The stim pack, the armor bonus. The game is saying, hey, look around at your surroundings. You might find some cool things. As we know, secrets and exploration, those are key in Doom. So we have this fight up here. We have a couple options of where we want to take this Imp fight. Do we want to stay in this hallway where we don't have much strafing that we can do? Push ahead? Well, that's clearly not a good idea. We'll have a dead end or more enemies. Or we can take the fight back here to the main open area where we have health and where we have cover. Now, if this was a cyber demon, we'd have to watch out for the splash damage because that would hit us on the walls there. But altogether, it gives us the option of having the player decide where do they want to take this fight, what kind of surroundings are most advantageous to the enemies I'm facing now, and where do I want to go from here. And it can be fluid. I can start here, I can run around the Imp, take him this way. You know, if it was a more complicated fight situation we'd see, but again, this is the beginning of the game, and it's a brand new genre mostly. When we come into the hallway, we actually had a zombie man here, but another Imp. We have a similar situation with some health bonuses here. We can get cornered. We don't want to do that. That's bad. Or we can take the fight back this way. Now, we're going to come back to this room on the left here in a minute. It's a different special case. Out here, we have a wide open area, have some different things that we can strafe around, obstacles in the way. We have 2 imps on the ground, and we also meet, I know I'm using free look, do forgive me, an imp up here. Now this one's different special because while these on the ground are able to reach us to melee us, the guy at the top here, he is stuck in mostly a static position. He's not able to free roam like the imps on the bottom are. He's just stuck where he is while we have to worry about the actual physical location, the imp's proximity to us here. We also find that on not an elevated level, but on this level down here. We have an imp that's in the cage. He's stuck in this position, so we don't have to worry about him moving, but he's also flat ground as opposed to learning the different axis of looking up in this one. So it's pretty neat there. We can actually, I would say, take them out in whatever order we wish to, but the one over here, we can bring him down on our level as well, which we'll do that. Now remember I talked about exploration and finding the secrets, right? Well, let's take a look and see what we have here. We come up to the top and we see a wall. What is so special about this? Oh, it's a secret. So wait, do we take the fight up here? No, this is really narrow. We don't have much room to look around here. Let's go ahead and jump down. And now we control the fight. We have the position here that's better than the imps. They're stuck in a single file line. We have free roam. We have movement forward, backwards, side to side. They are stuck here. Now, of course, if we had auto aim, that would be a whole different story. But it's pretty close enough. I wanted to use free look to show you how you can look up and down. We have the imp frozen here, but that's okay. Or we can also see what's up here. Now, as you know, Doom is all about secrets, and we find a switch, a secret. So what happens if we run around and we touch this little platform here? We listen closely, something opens. Now wait a minute. We can also take a look at this wall. We saw these imps in this location earlier if you came in the room, and you can see what happens here. Now, this is interesting too. This little hole here actually lets the sound travel through here into here. If I'm not mistaken, it's all connected. So instead of having nothing, this guy can hear what goes on in here. Now we have a couple options at this point. We haven't checked the room back here. We've already learned 2 different enemy types and 3 different arena types. So we can come back here and see that we have a rocket launcher. Super good, but also teaches you to be careful. Splash damage. Don't get too close. It'll be bad and you'll regret it. Now up here, we want to wait for that. We want to explore this room outside because we have a new type of arena, the outdoors. Now, naturally, there's really no big deal having a ceiling here, but we have a new crew, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 imps guarding a shotgun. So how do you make the play when you come out here? It's your first time seeing this. It's a whole crowd of imps. What do you do? Well, rocket launcher splash damage works well because they're all grouped up together, much better than the pistol and the chainsaw. Now, they will come after us. We can choose to take the fight out here, which is probably a good idea, hence all the circle strafing we can do. We have a lot of room. There are no obstacles to dodge these projectiles. Generally puts us in a favorable place to take the fight. So now we take it from out here. We have an opening. We can go grab the shotgun, which actually works really well at a long range. So we've actually learned another arena type here, rather coming from the inside to the big outside area. If they wanted to, they could have put enemies along this edge here, made things a little tricky, because this fight we only take from one direction, and over here we would have different directions that enemies could fire on, so we have to be aware of our total surroundings all around us. So remember that room I talked about earlier? Let's go check it out. Really nasty here. Remember we talked about elevation. If you came in this room earlier, this was your first experience of it. You not only have enemies on the flat ground, but now we have enemies that are elevated. And these are zombie men that are up, not the imps. They have hit scan, which more or less directly connects with us. So we have to figure out, how do we want to take the fight? Well, we can come back out in this hallway and have all this room with us, which is probably the better play. But either way, we want to take out each of the enemies. That is fine. We can take cover back here once we get the first two, using the room that we've cleared as additional ways to cover. So once we do that, something interesting here. We have a choice. What do we hit? Well, each of these switches. You know what? Let's say we hit this one first. Oh no, we can have access to up here, which is awesome, and it changes the arena. However, we have missed out on a secret back here, but the actual trigger for this is on the switch on the wall here. Boom, you can hit it, even though the whole thing, the platform, is actually down. So we come back here and we get some green armor, which is different than blue armor. Green is not as good, 33% damage reduction versus 50% damage reduction, and we're able to find some health and different things there. So all throughout this whole way, and ignore my jump, we have had a secret here for exploration. Could have had enemies outside if this was a harder level. We have an arena with columns to take the fight out. We learned that the hallway is narrow, so we want to figure out where to fight, how to use our surroundings, so we take it back to here. We have a whole new room with elevated enemies here coming around, secrets. So all in this first map, we have 4 different weapon types, 2 different enemy types, different elevations, tons of secrets and ways to acquire them, from foot switches on the ground, little triggers, to door switches there. We've seen it everything. There's another one here. We take a look at our map. There's one more enemy that's still yet to be seen, and we come in this exit room for a surprise imp in our face, which naturally we can take the fight out here. It's not too big of a thing to guard the exit, and we are rewarded with 3 med kits for our troubles. And all in all, look at this level here. So much has been learned. We can actually take the fight from out here, looking outside. Of course, we can't jump, but it is a nice first level, and everybody misses this design of it. Doom's first level uses 3 monster placements across 5 difficulty settings in a genius way that most people don't realize, and other FPS games years later adapted this clever formula for their own combat design. Check out the video on the screen. I did a very in-depth analysis of E1M1 in Doom 1, and I'll see you later.